Hello, welcome to the show. I cannot wait to talk to this couple. I have seen their stuff on social media and okay, I'm just going to get right to it. We've got Kennedy and Barrington here, and Kennedy Kinnard is a law student from Texas who got engaged to her fiance Barrington, who's a tax professional this past winter. Barrington planned their engagement at the Rink at Rockefeller Center, and it went viral on social media. And the couple shared their heartfelt photos on Instagram and garnered much attention from various publications. So, welcome to the show, you guys. So good. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about this. Like, everything just looked so amazing and magical. But first, let's start from the beginning. How did you guys even meet?
At a wedding, ironically.
No way. That's so cool. I love that.
So we both went to Baylor University.
Okay.
It's like a Christian school in Waco,
Yeah.
Texas. And he's older than I am. So I never really I think I saw you one time on campus when I was a freshman and what were you, like a senior? Yeah. So we never talked or crossed paths, but my sorority sister invited me to her wedding, and you got invited to their wedding as well because he knew the groom. I think that's how it worked, right?
Yeah.
You, Nick? Okay, yeah. And so, he sat in front of me at the wedding, and the rest is history.
Oh my gosh. I love that. That's so great. It's like you're watching love happen and then love is happening for you too at the wedding. It's so
Yeah.
great. That's awesome. So you guys, happened to meet at the wedding, and then what happened after that? It was just like, let's
I'll let you tell this
go
part.
on a couple dates, or how'd that all happen?
Yeah, at the wedding, she was with her mom. And
Okay.
I just want to kind of like introduce myself because we had a mutual friend at the time who was talking to Kennedy, and everyone I knew in the wedding was in the wedding party. So they were gone for like an hour and a half, it felt like. So I hung out with our mutual friend, and then I kind of introduced myself to Kennedy and kind of Kennedy's mom. And then I kind of, I thought Kennedy was gorgeous, like as soon as I saw her. So I went to her mom and kind of gave her like my resume, put in the good work with her mom. And then you don't worry about what Kennedy has to say yet, Just
I was
plant
also studying for the LSAT. So that was the entrance exam to get into law school. And so I was working and also trying to study. So I was kind of like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just here.
Yeah, so I planted to
Oh
see
my
with her mom
gosh.
and just kind of went like water. Hopefully that would be, grow into something later. And then funny enough, so I'm from Houston and I live in Houston and she's in Dallas. So like I said, we both went to Baylor. So I had season tickets that year. So I think I was up here or it was Thanksgiving, or I was up here for the TCU game actually. So we played TCU. So I came up here for that. And I was like, do you want to get drinks? And she was like, emphatically, no, I'm busy. I don't have time.
I said
for
I
this."
I
good.
said I was studying. I can't do this. That was the weekend before the LSAT. So
Oh gosh, yeah. I
like,
get that. She had a good excuse.
I had a good excuse.
Yeah, so she said, next time you come to Dallas, I'll make sure I make time for you. So
Oh, good.
I kind of like made up an excuse to come up here. It was like Black Friday after Thanksgiving. So I came up here, saw my uncle, and we had figured something out. So we went to a date. And then on the first date, the table next to us got engaged.
You guys are just surrounded by love. It was meant to be.
Yeah. So then from there, we just kind of, it started, I just kind of followed up on Instagram before the first date. And then we just kind of kept talking ever since then. And that was like 3.5 years ago now at this point.
We've
So.
talked
Wow.
crazy.
Oh, I love that so much. And I love your style, Barrington, that you went for her mom first. Like,
Yeah.
get on mom's good side. And then, she'll be
Yes.
like, okay with her daughter, like, hanging with you.
Yeah,
I love that. That is like a class act for sure.
So.
Yeah, that's so good. Oh my gosh. And you were persistent too after she said no. And then, like, same with you, Kennedy. You were like, okay, I'm interested, but like, this isn't a good weekend. But you gave him another chance. You were like, okay,
Right.
we'll do it another time. Like, let's rain check it. Like, giving him the, I'm still interested. So that was great. Okay, so that was 3.5 years ago.
Mhm.
And then your relationship since then, you guys have been in Texas and studying and working.
Mhm.
And then is New York special to you guys? Like, how did that all kind of transpire for your New York trip?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is she's in law school and she's in St. Louis in law school and I'm in Houston. And I think
Okay.
there's just a bit of duality in our lives with her like being in school and me just being, I just work. So I think I took like maybe 4 or 5 trips last year.
I was so jealous.
I was all over the place, and I think like towards the end of the semester, I was like, I had kind of had a timeline in my mind, but I didn't really know how I was going to go about it. And I was like, okay, well, Kennedy, where do you want to go? Because you haven't gone anywhere, and I've been wherever I've kind of wanted to go this year. Not because I wouldn't take her, but because she has class and finals, and she's super like, I can't miss class type A. So she just stays and goes to school, and I kind of, have other stuff. So I was like, where do you want to go? And I listed a whole bunch of places. And she was like, I want to go to New York, even though she had just gone to New York 6 months prior. And it was going to be December and freezing. And I was like,
Christmas in New York is different than summer.
I know.
So,
It seems so magical. I've never been, but yeah, that's like I've always wanted to go at Christmas time.
I was pitching for Cabo hard. And she's like,
Yeah.
we went to Mexico in March, I believe, for a friend's wedding.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's just go back and do something tropical. She was like, no, I want to go to New York. So that's kind of how it all came about. So for me, in my mind, I knew I was going to do it by the end of the year, whether it be in Cabo on the beach or in New York. I just hadn't really flushed that all the way out yet. So that was just how New York came about. I asked her where she wanted to go, and I told her I'd take her, and she said New York. Everything else kind of fell into motion from there.
Nice. So were your plans to actually propose on this trip, like no matter where she had chosen to go? Okay, so you like already had the ring and you were
I
like,
had the ring for like 6 months at that point.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
had the ring
gosh.
like June, July. So yeah, it was just kind of
So
sitting
y'all
around.
like gaslit me for 6 months because I was like, what's going on? I think he's going to propose. And all my friends were like, no, I don't think so. Not yet. And they were like asking, let me double check what rings you like. And I'm like, oh my God, this late into it?
It was,
Oh
I
my
don't want to call
gosh.
it gaslighting. It was a strategic realignment of your focus elsewhere.
Okay, whatever you want to call it.
That's so good. Okay, so Kennedy, you knew that he had a ring, or had you guys gone ring shopping, or you said your friends were giving him hints? Okay,
So
okay.
that's why I was so confused because we had gone ring shopping like the summer before, like I don't know, a year before. Let's just say that a year before. So it was like I chose my ring. I mean, every girl, well, not every girl, but a lot of girls have been thinking about what engagement ring they want for years.
Oh yeah.
I was one of those people. I absolutely adore jewelry. So when I was young, I used to just want to go into Tiffany's because I loved breakfast at Tiffany's. And so I would
Yes.
look at the ring. So I've had an idea of what I've wanted since like 7th grade. And so we went ring shopping and I tried on some rings and I was like, yep, the idea of what I thought I liked was what I wanted. So I knew what I wanted. I was pretty set on it. And I guess he, of course, took that information and did what he needed to do. So I was confused as to why, like, a year later, they were still asking me about rings. I was like, I know what ring I want. We've already looked. This was a long time ago. Like, what's going on? So, yeah, I think it was more so just like he said, just kind of realigning my focus to trick me a little bit because I knew what I wanted and we had already looked for rings. So I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, you mean to tell me my Barrington is really like thorough? And so I was like, you mean to tell me this late into it, he's still looking at rings? Like
I guess my point was I don't think you change your mind on the most expensive thing I've ever bought in my life. So you need to know for sure. So I was like, yeah, you looked a year ago, but let's go look again. Was kind of what was like,
I knew.
I
was not
yeah.
Right. And I didn't, I don't think. Did I? I don't think I did. No.
Yeah.
Even when people, him and some of our mutual friends, the friend that kind of like got us together at the wedding that we met at, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I know what I want, but I'll look at some other things. But I was just like, this is weird. Y'all are acting strange.
Oh man. So that threw you for a loop, and then the engagement came. I'm seeing this thread throughout your relationship of like Tiffany's, New York, breakfast at Tiffany's, like, and then going to New York at Christmas time, the whole thing. So, okay, Barrington, you guys are planning the trip to New York. And what gave you the idea to do the ice rink at Rockefeller Center?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we had kind of talked, and I was like, I kind of figured out like what she did and what, like, I make a lot of jokes. So I joked about doing stuff. I would joke about doing things to kind of get a feel about it, like the big marry me letters. I joked about doing that, and she was like, that's not my style. So I kind of
that's good.
my way into like a process of elimination. So I kind of came up with like, so once like the big letters were out, I was like, okay, well that kind of takes away like the rooftop bars and all of that I've seen. And that kind of takes care of like under the bridge and all of that. So I was like, okay, so that left me with like, so then for a while, I know like one Vanderbilt does proposals that are really high up in the sky. And I was like, that would be great. Only thing that I couldn't live with was the fact that if the weather was not great, then it would be ruined. So, because you wouldn't be able to see the skyline, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So that was like my original go-to. And then I think I was on TikTok one day and I saw somebody doing it at the Rockefeller Center. And I was in St. Louis at the time because I think I saw the TikTok on a Saturday, and I texted our friends, the couple that got married, and I was like, do y'all think we can go ice skating? And they're like, absolutely not. No, there's no chance.
That's why I was like, what?
Well, she had mentioned it in passing, but like I think there's a difference between going to the rink and just doing a couple laps and being like, oh, we're gonna, like, this is serious. We have to, propose here. So it was like a Saturday. She had mentioned it prior, and I was like, well, she didn't mention ice skating. Do y'all think, like, neither one of y'all know how to skate? Which I do want to clarify that I said that was my thing and I dragged her out there. That's not the case.
No, that was not what happened. I asked you, like, do you want to go ice skating? Because I was thinking of activities to do, like iconic activities. Like, I love New York City. And so I was thinking of different things that we could do during Christmas time. And like Rockefeller Rink, Rockefeller Plaza, that is like the ultimate like Christmas destination in New York City. So like I had mentioned it in passing, but they took it and ran with it.
If it would have been on a golf course, then y'all would have known it was all me. But that was not the case.
Exactly.
But so
That's
that was
good.
what I was talking about. So we went ice skating, and I ice skated as a kid a couple times, but Kennedy had never really. But as a kid, like, you don't have scar tissue from falling. So I felt like once I got on the rink, I was like, if I fall, I fall. It's not that big of a deal. Kennedy is not that, como se dice, relaxed. Like, she...
Type A.
a comfortable situation. So, we went skating for like, they had like a free skate in St. Louis. So we went for an hour. And
a couple times. Yeah.
But after the first time, after the hour, I was like, okay, she feels like somewhat comfortable on skates. Like, I feel comfortable enough to get her to go. I mean, it was only 30 yards, maybe. I knew I would need to get her off the wall. And I think after I saw that, and that's, I think, where the video got misconstrued. I was like, once I saw that she could do it for, 15 minutes or whatever, it's like, I feel confident going forward in this plan because it's something she wants to do. It's in line with her other expectations where she's like, I want something private, but it can be public at the same time. I guess she didn't just want 100 people within 5 feet of her.
No.
So I was like, okay, cool. We're going to go forth with this. We'll practice a couple more times and we'll just kind of see what happens. So I think for me, once we went ice skating once and she was like not completely falling every 2 steps, I was like, yeah, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that you guys did some practice rounds before actually going to the rink for your proposal where it's all documented and everything. And that Kennedy, it really was your idea because you wanted to do a winter fun activity and go ice skating. So I think another reason I was super drawn to your story is that I'm a former figure skater too. And so as soon as I saw like a rink proposal, I was like, this is the sweetest thing ever.
And I think talks to like just the fun of I don't want to say fun, but I guess it is like the fun aspect of the proposal because it's like we're not professionals, so it's like us really trying and trusting each other, like and because we're not, and so I think it just kind of added to it, like I don't even know if I helped you up after you saw myself, so it just added to the character of the story. I feel like for us to not be like the best skaters on the ice.
I love that. It's a metaphor for your relationship, helping each other out, helping each other get off the wall and try new things. And like, I think that's so cool and that's so fun. So I noticed during your proposal that the rink had cleared for the proposal.
Right.
So I would love to know maybe the logistics behind this.
Yeah.
Did you have to get with the people who ran the rink at Rockefeller Center and be like, this is what I'm doing. Like, what would it take for us to clear the rink for just a few minutes? Like, maybe give us the backstory behind all of that.
So, I mean, I saw it on TikTok and they cleared the rink and I was like, okay, well, I'll just reach out. I mean, it's a very professional run organization. I'll say everything leading up till the day of was going flawlessly without a hitch. So you just kind of reach out and they send you like their packages and everything like that. And then you kind of just go from there as far as, they let you pick a song and they say you have 5 minutes. Apparently they have other packages. I didn't ask. I don't know if I didn't ask the right questions or whatever, but I was told that later on TikTok. But yeah, I mean, so you get to pick your song and then you have I think they have like 12 time slots a day, and you can kind of pick your time slot and kind of go from there. And then what they do is like a week before they confirm everything. And then they're like, okay, well, you're going to text this number on the day of. You're supposed to text them with like a picture of what you have on so we know how to recognize you, and et cetera, et cetera. So all of that was perfect. I was great. I was like, okay, this is going to go off without a hitch. And then the day of comes and the weather in New York is terrible.
Oh, no.
It's not like the worst weather in the world, but it's just
it was not ideal.
It was not ideal, right?
Yeah.
And the day before in New York, it was colder. It was like 15, 20 degrees colder. It was like 28, 30, but we didn't have gloves or anything like that. And we were like, okay. And the next day it was like 45, 50. So I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. So we didn't have gloves. We didn't have anything.
It was raining.
Yeah, it was raining.
Yeah.
So the logistics,
Bummer.
like, since we had a time slot, I was like, I like to work backwards. I'm like, okay, we have a time slot. We need to be in the general vicinity, towards, but part of it is I have to like not give away. I can't show my hand. So I'm like, okay,
Right.
we'll go to the house early. We'll go get some pizza. Then we'll kind of look around, et cetera, et cetera. But the weather was abysmal and Kennedy was not really having it.
Well,
Oh,
I
man.
feel like it wasn't just the weather that made it so awful. I think my lovely fiance here, he thought he had a handle of subways in New York City, and he did not. And so we were missing our stops. We were having to walk in the rain because we took the wrong train. Did we take the wrong train at one point?
So we missed the stop, and then we walked back, and that wasn't smart. And then and then it was raining. It was just a good old.
So I was in the rain, it was cold, and I just didn't understand like some of the logistics of that day. I was like, where are we going? Why can't we switch around our plans and do something like an indoor activity? That was my thing. I was like, the rain is awful. I know we said that we are going to try and do the rink today, but can we do the rink tomorrow? Like the weather is supposed to be much better. I was like, why don't we just go to the Met or some sort of museum, something that we can do indoors because the weather is awful. But I didn't understand that he had plans. And so he just was adamant, like, no, we have to do it today. I really want to do it today. Like, and I was just so confused because I was like, this is awful. The weather sucks. I don't want to do this today.
Yeah.
Kind of what was going on.
Yeah, I was at the point of
Okay.
because you have a spot booked, and like everything with the Rockefeller was like through email, so I couldn't call and be like, hey, can we move this to tomorrow? What time slots? And you have a photographer booked, and then like everyone's family is pretty much in the know of like the time. So if this doesn't happen tonight, it's gonna get ruined by tomorrow, 100%. Somebody's gonna call, somebody's gonna text, So I was like, no, this has to happen today. And I will say that Kennedy was really a good sport about it. Like I had her out in the rain, cold, and wind, and she didn't really complain. She wasn't really happy about it. She was a bit annoyed by the whole circumstance because normally I just would have rescheduled, but obviously I couldn't because we were at the point of no return. So once we kind of got to the area, we went to Saks. We got some gloves.
Nice.
That was the morale builder. She got some Rouse coffee at Saks, so morale was a little bit higher.
Love it.
So then we got to the rink, and I was like, hey, like we're supposed to do this. And then Kennedy was like, I was like, I don't think we can cancel. We get to the rink, Kennedy goes straight, beelines to the counter, and they said we can cancel. And I'm like,
he was very.
And then that's when Kennedy started saying that I started getting fidgety, and I was like, well, I just need to talk to them. And you need to go. I was like, go look at the gift shop, go do something.
And I was like, what? Why do you have to, like, my feminist popped out.
Right. You're like, I can cancel. Perfectly fine.
I was like, guys, I have this time slot for the proposal spike in the next hour. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. And naturally they had no idea. So we were able to work it out. So we got there about an hour before like our time slot on the ice. So for a while there, we were just people watching down there, like underneath. There were just people watching, and Kennedy is just, I got her to calm down a bit because I didn't want to be late. And I had texted Rockefeller and they didn't text me back. So I was like, I need to get there earlier. But I think the problem was on me. I put them in the group chat with us and our photographer, and I don't think their phones could do that. So
gotcha. Yeah.
I don't think it was anything on them per se. But I wanted to get there super early, make sure everything was going off a hitch.
Another
like,
thing I didn't understand. I'm like, why are we here
Right.
an hour before our time slot? This is like
Right.
not lining up.
I was like, okay, here, check, cool. So we worked all that out. I mean, and then at that point, it was just pretty much stalling for Kennedy for like our time towards the.
Yeah.
So what they do is, and I guess this is how it works, is they have like hour sessions, and if you book a proposal, you get like the last like 5 minutes of that hour, so they'll clear the ice for everyone, and then you have 5 minutes to do, to play your song and to do your thing, and then so that's how the logistics of it all worked out.
And I think like the weather made it ultra believable because what they tell you, I don't know if they do this all the time, but they did that day. They said that we needed to clear the rink for like resurfacing of the ice. And so for me, I thought nothing of it because like there was water pooling on the ice. And I was like, yeah, let's get off this because we're something. And so I was ready to skedaddle. Like as soon as they said that, I was like, all right, let's go. Like, we did our lap, like we were out here, like we had the experience, let's go. But Barrington was like, let's just take a few more pictures in front of the tree. And I was like, why? Everybody's leaving, like it's time to go. And then I always tell people, like at this part of the story, the employees at Rockefeller were like phenomenal. Like they saved the day because one of the guys that were on the ice, he was like, well, I can take the picture for you guys. Like I'll do it for y'all. And I was like, oh, that's really nice of him. Okay. And so that kind of threw me off a little bit. So that's why like when the proposal like finally started, I was so surprised because I thought he was just being nice and taking our picture because clearly we're like the worst skaters on the ice. So maybe he's trying to be nice to keep the morale up. And yeah, they were all in cahoots. So that is why I was so genuinely surprised because they redeemed themselves after the gift shop.
Oh, that's so good. I know that was a question of mine. It was like, okay, once they say clear the ice, like especially Kennedy, you've said you're type A where you're like probably a rule follower, I'd imagine. So you're probably like, we need to get off. Yeah, like you said, the water's pooling, like let's go. And so I was wondering, like, Barrington, how did you keep her out there? But I love that the staff stepped in and they're like, nope. And then that probably gave you more of a permission of like, okay, it's still cool to be out here. Like we don't have to like feel like we have to clear the ice. And so good on them for that little move there. Yeah.
Jump, like get off.
Yeah. Totally. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you said it's like a 5-minute deal, right? Okay. Oh my gosh. So you've got 5 minutes to get this right. You got to make sure the photographer is in her spot and ready to go. And okay. So you said you get a song to play. What song did you guys choose for that?
I did.
Or you chose it, Barrington?
I did Dangerously in Love by Beyonce.
Nice.
I don't know. I always like to yell that at the top of my lungs.
That's so fun.
I also love Beyonce. Like I'm her, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
good.
A lot of back and forth, but I think it went great.
I should have known.
Good.
It's like in the weeks leading up, he started asking me about music. I love music. Like I absolutely love music. I'm one of those nerds who like want to learn as much about production. He wants to know what sample this is and who sampled what. Like I love music. And so he always teases me. He's like, oh my goodness, you and your music or something like that. He starts to ask me questions about some of my favorite songs. And I'm like, our music taste is totally different. Like, why are you asking me about these songs? And if I wasn't in law school, I probably would have suspected more, but I was in school. I don't know. I feel like I would, but like, I guess look at me like I was not even thinking about it. I just didn't think twice. In retrospect, I'm like, the signs were there, but he was a lot of back and forth, but I think Dangerously in Love was probably the best because immediately once he started playing, I knew something was up because like he said, he does love that song and he screams it at the top of his lungs.
Yes.
Whenever it comes on, yes.
Oh my word. Okay, so you guys are getting your photo from the staff and then everyone's cleared, your song starts playing, and then did you guys black out? Do you remember what you said, Barrington? Like
I think I started off by saying, I apologize for having essentially everyone in your life in cahoots.
That's so good.
And I was just like, just trust yourself. You're not going to fall. Just waddle out here. I was like, and I knew where we needed to stand. So I was just like, and then once we got out there, I think at that point, once I knew she was going to fall, I think we both kind of just like blacked out and she started yelling all the way up Madison Ave. Everything went great at that point.
I I remember just like whenever the music started playing, I think I was like, is this a joke? Like, what are you doing? Like, are you joking? Like, I still hadn't like registered. But then once he started to say those things and like get on his knee, that's when I like lost it. I know I was screaming. I think I remember him saying, "Will you marry me?" I don't know anything else he said. I just had to hear the key phrase. That's all I could register in my brain. And I did say yes. I remember that, but everything else in between, I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh. And it's so sweet. Like, Barrington, you're on one knee in hockey skates on the ice, like with your hands up. It's not like you can even balance at all. So, like, props to you for like getting in that position and being able to propose to her. And then, oh my gosh, the ring and everything, Kennedy, you're taking off your glove to put the ring on. Like, it's just so epic just in the video that I watched of you guys.
Yeah, and the gloves are like
so good
because I was on the wall. So it was like freezing. There's water everywhere. But like in that moment, it's just like you don't even care, you know? It's like your adrenaline flowing and you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. I remember you pointing like, take a picture because he got a photographer and I just lost it even more. I was like, oh my goodness.
That is so cool. So, okay, the engagement happens. You guys get off the ice. I'm sure floods of texts and calls from friends and family were all happening. That's so great. And then, so you guys are engaged. Like, tell us maybe more about the wedding planning process and like, do you guys have a date and a location set yet?
Yeah, so we've kind of got all that done. So
wow, way to go, guys! Over here. Seriously, getting it done.
I forgot what made the most sense, and ultimately we were like, well, we're not really in a rush. She likes me, I like her. Kennedy is going to be graduating in like 8 weeks now.
Congrats! Yay!
I think the next year and a half is really just about her and figuring out what it is that she wants to do with her career and getting started in that. So we're like, well, let's just push the wedding out. So we're going to do like Memorial Day weekend 2027. So about 2 years from now.
Nice.
So plenty of time to kind of deal with that and I don't know, we didn't want to make it like a pressure packed moment because she's got to move from St. Louis. Yeah, there's just a lot of moving pieces. So we're like, let's get a date, let's get something on paper. That way we can say we have a date and then, put down deposits and then not think about it for a year. It's kind of where we're at.
That's cool. So you guys are getting married in Texas then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Like halfway between Houston and Dallas, which is where our friends and family are, but it's a little bit more Houston adjacent. But
it's okay.
But it'll be fun.
It was the video that I really liked. So like it's
good.
Really fine with it. I want my family to, get out of the Dallas bubble anyways. So we're totally fine with it. But it was stressful. Like I think the wedding planning process, I can see why people say it's so stressful because finding a venue, even 2 years out almost people were booking up already.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't want to say we stole somebody's date, but we definitely put it in the pocket before they did. So
that's amazing. Yeah, if you like something, get it in.
Forth internally, but I said send it over. We'll get it taken care of today.
Perfect.
Which is crazy because it's a new build. So it's like they're finishing construction probably in the next month or so. So it's like, how is it already?
The wedding industry is like dog eat dog world. So
I did not know that. I had no idea. So just like because law school has been on my mind, like just trying to finish and get my career on, just getting it going. I'm a career woman, I want all of those things to happen. So of course I love Barrington and we've been long distance and I knew this is who I wanted to spend my life with. But, once I finally realized, this is happening soon and had to kind of redirect some focus towards looking at venues and thinking about how many guests we're going to have. And I was like, wow, this is stressful. This is a lot. It felt like we were in a rush for time because if we wanted our ideal date, it was already booking up. And it was like, what on earth? This is crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's good that you guys got in early, but there is so much pre-planning before you even book the venue because you're like, I need to put a guest list together. Let's all figure out how many people, and then that determines what venue we can actually get that holds all of these people that we want together. And so especially 2 years out now, you guys are so ahead of the game that it's like, okay, you have that down, and now the rest of the pieces will come together as time goes on. And as you're finishing school, you can kind of take a breather after that and then really figure out career moves and then kind of get the rest of the wedding planning going. So that was really smart on you guys' part. So bravo. Okay, I saw you guys did some amazing photo shoots. Was it with your same photographer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jen, if you see this, I think her @ name is Jen Behind the Lens on Instagram.
Yes.
100% recommend to anyone who's looking for somebody in New York. She was so awesome, 100% professional from like the first time I reached out to her, and she was on time, patient, and all of that. So yes, she was the magician that took care of everything, and I'm super thankful for her. So yeah.
So good. So did you guys do those shoots like after your engagement, like in that same trip, or did you go, but okay, cool.
We planned everything.
Yeah, so I bought
That's
a bunch
so
of
good.
and like brought them up in my luggage. We have a friend in New York who I just went on another trip with, and you know, all of the storytelling, I was like, oh, well, she had stuff that she couldn't bring back from our last trip, so I have room in my luggage, so now I'm going to take it to New York to her. So that's how I kind of got away with that. So it was all like a multiverse of truths coming together to get it all done, but it was wonderful, and I wouldn't have changed anything about it.
That's so good. I mean, the Met New York Public Library, like you guys went to all the amazing, most like photographic places that you could think of for some epic photos.
Thank you. Like I have been obsessed with like Sex in the City. I love Sex in the City. Like I just love the city itself. And so I was so happy Jen was so knowledgeable and kind of captured my taste really well. I love timelessness. Like I love classic places. Like I said, I love breakfast at Tiffany's. And so it's like, I love something that is going to look wonderful for decades and decades and decades after. So I really wanted some pictures that, you know, I would be so happy to show, you know, my kids and our grandkids. Because, you know, sometimes our parents like are, you know, children of the 80s and 90s. And like sometimes I'll look at their pictures and I'm like, oh my God, this is so 80s. Like this is so 90s.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I feel like New York Public Library, the Met, those are places that are like staples, and they've been staples forever. And like, sure, our clothes might be different, but I still feel like those are like really nice pictures. Like Breakfast at Tiffany's is dated, I don't feel like.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Okay, so
fantasy world. I think Alyssa agrees with me.
Yeah. It is. It's timeless. It's great. So you mentioned you love like that timeless classic style and kind of came across in your photos. Is that the style that you're going for as well, like with your wedding?
Absolutely. That is absolutely what we're doing. I mean, we're still kind of looking, we're so far out. So we're kind of shopping around and looking at, you know, wedding planners and just kind of exploring what kind of decor we want, what we want things to look like. And so our venue, I think they call it like Southern transitional or something like that. You know, it's not modern, but it's not traditional. So I wanted something that was going to look timeless to me. You know, I feel like it's something if my kids were to say like, oh mom, this is so, what are they going to call it? 2020s? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is timeless. Something that I feel like will always look really nice. So yes, I want traditional, dresses, flowers, like everything. I don't want it to look like this is something from 2025. My goal is for it to look like something that will always look in style, quote unquote.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. And yeah, it will look timeless if you're kind of keeping with simplistic and classic style. That'll look so good.
Like, I was looking at some things. Like my name is Kennedy. So I also love the Kennedys. So I'm like obsessed with family. And so like I love Jackie Kennedy and JFK's their wedding. And so like I will look at some of their things, like some of their floral arrangements, her dresses, those types of things. Like I feel like sure they got married in like I think the 50s, and like there's still some things that I would take away from their wedding and try to incorporate into our wedding. So I don't care. Cool. You know, I love it. I think and I'm the bride, so you know.
Yeah, I know. I love it. It's so good.
That's right.
I'm here to make sure the bar is stocked and the DJ is on his job. Everything other than that.
There you go. You guys are splitting tasks. I love it.
I don't want to say it's not my job or I don't care because I just want her to be happy, but that's not.
Yeah.
That's her job.
That's
Make
not-
sure the bride is happy. Everything's paid for.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. I know you're the numbers guy with taxes. Like, yeah, you know how to look at a contract, I'm sure, like the whole thing. And same with you, Kennedy, being a lawyer. You guys can look through your contracts, make sure you're getting what you need. So I love that. Okay, so my last question is, I know you guys have barely cracked the surface with planning your wedding, but you have done quite a few things already.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for other couples who are in the planning process right now?
I would just say, do what makes sense for you. I think, especially in like 2025 and 2026, I think we get a lot, especially like our generation, a little bit younger, who kind of grew up with social media. We get caught up in looking at what everyone else did. And, this happened to go viral, but even if it would have got 500 likes, I wouldn't have changed a thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Going viral.
So I just do what makes sense for you. I mean, I knew what kind of made sense. I was trying to make a plan based on her timeline and what we had going on. So I think that's it. Like, don't worry about what the next person's doing. Do what you want to do what makes you guys happy. And if you do that, then at the end of the day, everything will go well. And I think that's what happened. She wanted to do New York. We ended up in New York, and then everything went off without a hitch. So that's my biggest thing. And wedding planning too is just about what makes sense. And that's my biggest advice.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Really great words of advice. This has been so awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing your story. And tell us, like, are there any projects you're working on or any other place? Like, where can we find you online to like look at all these gorgeous photos?
I think I'm probably the one on Instagram, like, the most. I love, I'm most excited about the logistics of the wedding, like the dress, the decor, all of those things. And I try to share some things as they come across on Instagram. My Pinterest board right now is booming. Me and Pinterest go together real bad. Like, it is everywhere. So I try to share things on Instagram as they come up. But some things I do want to keep like a secret, like my dress, stuff like that. But as we kind of get closer to like melding our lives together, I think like moving in together and me graduating, all of those things will be documented on Instagram. I try to do TikTok, but for me, I think I'm an Instagram girly, and I think he's the one who does all the TikToks.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys want to watch my golf swing, it's on TikTok and Instagram.
He's a golfer, so
that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I think Kenny will do probably most of that. I mean, if she will do the recording, I'll do the editing. It's been hard to like kind of keep things going with us being in two different locations. So there was definitely an outpouring of support and love. I think we'll try and keep it kind of going.
I think Instagram naturally is going to be where everything is. And so I love all the people that did follow me since then. I felt so sweet, so loved.
There's not a whole bunch of wedding planning going on with Kennedy graduate.
Yeah, for sure.
Ramp up here shortly.
Yep.
Take your time. There's no pressure. So that's awesome. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's so fun just getting to know you guys over the past few moments here. And we're here if you need anything, any advice or anything in your planning. So we will be on the lookout, in 27 for those gorgeous wedding photos. We will, be watching for that. And best of luck to you guys. And thank you again so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
There you have it, another episode of the Wedding Reporter podcast. To see those gorgeous wedding and engagement photos, head over to NashvilleBrideGuide.com for more behind-the-scenes content. And if you like this episode, I would so appreciate it if you would rate and subscribe the show. See you next time for another great episode.